So the first question is quite general. It's about why you're coming back to Colombia. Why is that special interest in to coming to Colombia?
Because we got asked. It's quite simple, really. No, I mean, we the idea of the tour with Breed was mentioned, spoken about quite some time ago, actually, because we've already been to South and Central America on our own a few times. So we figured, let's try and do something different. You know, go with a band that is different to us. Still heavy, but in their own way. And see, you know, to give people a different flavour. So we're here, and they're not, unfortunately, so, oh well, you know.
Right. So I've heard that you guys had a new album that is, and you mentioned that it's already.
We do. It's ready musically, but there's all the details to sort out.
All right. So can we have any advance, or is there any like advance for fans onto what we can expect?
Yeah, I can tell you what to expect. It's noisy, horrible, fast, and weird at the same time. Which doesn't really tell you anything, but that's really what it is. It's like the last album moved on a little bit. And I know that sounds really fucking obvious and very vague, but it literally is that. It's another dimension. The sound is a bit more ambient this time, actually. There's more ambience in the sound, so it's more natural, the sound. I mean, our recordings generally are quite natural, but this has even more kind of wideness to it. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I think it'll be interesting for people. Some of it is not what people would expect, but it's still extreme.
What do you mean?
Well, it's got some. We've taken some of the influences from the fringe influences of Napalm, not metal ones or punk ones, like you know, Swans, My Bloody Valentine, the kind of noisy post-punk bands, you know, because that's an influence on us, that stuff, so, you know, there's some of that stuff.
That's very interesting. Well, on the other hand, we know that Napalm Death is a huge influence for Latin American metal bands.
Right.
What's your opinion about Latin American scene, and could you highlight any specific or particular characteristic?
Well, I mean, I have to say that I don't know so much about the Latin American scene now. Back in the 80s and the 90s I did. Okay. It seemed a bit more vibrant, you know, like it was, you could pick out bands that had their own characteristics.
Yeah.
But I find it difficult. Yeah. Maybe it's just because I'm not as exposed to it as what I once was, you know, so.
And what about Latin American, like Sepultura? I've seen that you have played along with them.
Yeah, played them quite a lot. I mean, our paths cross sometimes in Europe and stuff, but yeah, and you know, I mean, like from the old hardcore days, like Rattlesnake and bands like that.
Yeah. Okay. Just returning to your debut album, or even your album called From Enslavement to Obliteration. Yeah. Among fans that maintain current. So, which is your opinion? What's still happening?
Well, I mean, I wasn't in the band then at that point for those first two albums, but I was a Napalm fan, I suppose, before I joined the band. It was like one of my favourite bands, you know, so. I mean, and if I step outside Napalm, I think that those two albums are milestones in music, really. Not just in the extreme music, but music generally. I think those albums are very
kind of a milestone.
Very important milestone albums, I think. So, and that's me, like I say, stepping outside of Napalm for a second.
And it's widely known that your lyrics are really political and had a huge philosophical content.
Yeah, I mean, it's what they are essentially. They're kind of, I like to think that they're like beyond politics, really. They are just encouraging humanity, I guess, trying to get people to rediscover what it means to be humane to one another and not to kill each other, you know, for stupid fucking reasons, you know, or on behalf of some shitty fucking government, you know. So.
Yeah. Well, my question was kind of about that, is that if you guys feel like being in countries such as Colombia with huge political and social problems, it's kind of an influence, or it's kind of inspirational for you.
Well, the thing is that the whole point about Napalm for me, and you might get a different answer if you ask one of the guys, in that respect, is the fact that we're an internationalist band. You know, we're not a homogenous entity, we're an internationalist. Like all good fucking socialists, you know, we're internationalists, you know. But anyway, the thing is that I see beyond borders. You know, I've never thought in terms of countries or borders. I see in terms of people. It's people that matter, not flags or stupid borders or anything like that. It's people that matter. So anything that happens in a particular country is a human issue, and it's a worldwide issue. It's not a country issue. It's a
So regarding to another topic, how would you describe the experience in which you work along with the musician John's Horn?
Well, if you're talking about the thing he did on Utilitarian, that was quite spontaneous actually. There was no real plan. Shane, the bass player, our bass player, just asked John. He was hearing in his head like a saxophone part on this particular part. Not a normal saxophone, of course, something really off the wall, you know. And Shane goes, I think I could get John to do it. I said, yeah, but Shane, this track's got to be finished, you know, by, it was like 2 days or something like that. And he got in touch with him and he said, yeah, I'll do it. He did a load of sax files and sent them, and that was that.
Wow, that's cool.
It's easy as that, you know.
Yeah. Well, you guys have any particular interest in like plastic art? Because you can tell in your website that you run a performance along with Keith Harrison.
Yeah.
So that's kind of amazing, and that's not really.
I would like to do a lot more of that.
Yeah.
It's difficult to get to plan the whole thing sometimes, but that works so well, you know, and I'd love to do it. Yeah, I love stuff like that, the art side of it, you know, because once you open up music like that with that kind of physical and visual impact, it becomes almost something else entirely. You know?
In fact, I think that you guys become part of the performance. I mean, you weren't.
And equally, the thing, if you saw it, the thing that was in front of us became part of as much as we were. So that gives you another dimension. Why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So are you planning to do any more?
Well, we're not planning anything, but I'd like to.
Yeah, you would like to.
Yeah, I'd like to. It probably needs some artist, whether it's Keith or somebody else, to come along and kick us up the arse. You know?
That's amazing.
Come on, fuckers. You know?
All right. Well, thank you very much. I don't know if you'd like to add anything regarding to the show in Colombia.
I guess it sounds like a fucking cliche now, but thanks to everybody for supporting us. We always make it back in the end. People think they've seen the last of us, but like a fucking bad smell, we're never too far away. You know?